covering is the online service configuration for DocumentsCorePack and Attachment Extractor. So if you're familiar with it, you kind of used it before, just basically want to let you know that, hey, this has changed, and I'll just kind of show you a couple of things. So the online service configuration, basically what it is, we're able to deploy, configure, and maintain our services for Dynamics 365 and Dataverse. You know, the way that we had it and everything like that, it was very kind of, it felt it was a little bit clunky. Wanted to make this a lot simpler, wanted to make it easier for you to deploy and configure and do all that kind of thing. So, and also to see some things that weren't available to you before. So this is available for DocumentsCorePack and Attachment Extractor. And some of the key benefits of it is basically plug and play, right? It takes about 15 minutes to get started. I know in the past we said it was about 30 minutes. Now we've kind of, the way that you'll see when I go to set it up in the demonstration, that it usually does take about 15 minutes to get the thing up and going now. So there's a lot less for you to do. It is supported and maintained by us. So there's really nothing you have to do on your side, just the configuration and everything like that. But the whole service and everything like that is maintained by us, right? And one of the most important things that I think that comes with this is insights. So we can see performance, utilization, consumption, and logs, right? So what is new? In the user experience, of course, you know, we have it's a modernized UI. It makes a lot of sense. It's very intuitive. Improved navigation, right? You're going to have everything to where you can actually just grab and kind of show and kind of see what you need to see. And the last part, tooltips and help. There's a lot, like, you know, there's a lot of things on there now where you have a little question mark. If you're not sure what a setting does, you can click on that question mark. It's going to tell you exactly what it is. There's links to documentation and things of that nature in there. So let's see here. The next thing is, of course, I think one of the biggest things here is the insights, right? You get insights into consumption, performance, data usage, and extraction analysis. So what do we mean by that? Like, so for example, consumption, right? You're going to be able to see how many documents have I done this month? How many documents have I done this year? How many documents have I done since I've had the service going? It also breaks it down to a kind of a granular level so you can actually see, you know, what you're doing. As far as performance, you're able to go in, take a look at, you know, how long is it taking me to actually generate these documents? Is there a template that I kind of need to look at because it's taking a long time to actually generate that, right? Also, being able to see your data usage for the lifetime of your service. Basically, it's broken down by year. You're able to also go in and see what you've done per month, you know, like, you know, see how much data you're using and everything like that. And last but not least is the extraction analysis. So when you have attachment extractor, you're basically able to go in and see basically what attachment extractor is doing to kind of see like the different files that it's actually removing, where it's removing them from, you know, a lot of information in there that's going to help out a lot, you know, so you can kind of just kind of see all this. So setup, improve click try experience. What we mean by that is basically we simplified it down to just a couple of clicks. You know, we're just doing a few clicks, and you can get this thing set up and rolling, right? There's not a lot for you to have to do. Service logs and error handling. So you're able to actually go in, look at those service logs, look at the error handling, actually filter it now to where you can see exactly kind of what's going on, where I'm having issues or stuff like that. That's actually going to help you out if you have like a case or something that you're sending to support. You're able to get that information to us, and we're able to react a lot quicker to your issues, right? Instead of all of us having to go through and look and exchange a bunch of emails back and forth and things of that nature. And last but not least, template management. You're able to manage all your templates inside of this. You know, whether you want to, you know, kind of download all your templates and download all your templates, and you know, all that information is readily available to you. So the agenda today, we're going to basically walk through an overview of the features and redesign highlights for the DocumentsCorePack and Attachment Extractor. And then the step-by-step, we're going to create a new service. That's kind of the first thing we're going to do via the streamlined setup procedures, right? So let's go ahead and jump over here to the demo system. And so easy way to get started here on our website. right? This is basically one of the things, you just come on into here to our website, you log yourself in. I'm just going to go to my account here. And you can see here I've got different information here. So I want to click then on manage services, right? So a couple of things kind of before we get into it, a few things that I want to point out. There's a couple little icons that I think are really, really important. So it's going to actually bring up all my services. I get a nice like overview of that. Number one right here is have a nice YouTube video, step-by-step video on how to kind of set this up, exactly what I'm doing here. The next is, of course, important documentation, right? If you need to, this will take you to some documentation where you can actually like look and see what all the little settings do and everything. And then this little guy right here, this is our little feedback guy. This has been in development now for a while. We're just kind of rolling this out, but we like to get feedback from y'all, so things that we can improve, things that, you find good or things that you don't find so good and everything like that. Just come over here and click this little guy, share your feedback. We do take that into account, right? So let's go ahead and show how we would be setting this up. So let's go ahead and I want to add a service, and I'm going to add a DocumentsCorePack service. Now, what I've got here is I have a marketing environment that I want to add DocumentsCorePack to, right? So what I'm going to do here is the first time when you're setting it up, it's always with the Office 365 connection, but we do recommend after that to change it to app access, right? And we have a whole thing on that, on how you would do that. So first thing I want to do, easy enough, is load my environments, right? So this is going to take me to my login screen here for Microsoft. So I don't want myself, I want to use John, and I want to enter John's password, right? So once that's done, once we've authenticated, we'll come back. It's going to show us all the available environments that I have in my tenant, right? So I have a marketing trial and I have REST demo, right? So I want to apply this service to my marketing trial, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say connect. And this little step right here does take a little bit of time, right? So basically what it's doing right now, it's going in, it's going to verify to make sure that I have the permissions in order to install, right? After it's done with that, what it's going to do is it's going to build out my profile and things of that nature. And then I have a few little small steps before I get going. But so far, just real quick, while this is kind of doing that, I just want to know how is it with Teams and everything like that? How is the webinar doing for y'all? And for those of y'all who've been on webinars before, is this better than Click Meeting? I'm just really curious about that. If anybody wants to put that in the chat. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much. Oh, that's right. We have reactions now, so I appreciate that. Yeah, good deal. Excellent. So right now it's gone through, it's saved our profile and everything like that. Let me just kind of close this out, just kind of getting used to this interface. So most important thing here, right, is the service name. As you can see, right, every time as default, we take the unique org name and we use that as your service name. Make sure you go ahead and label this what you want it to be, right? The reason that I say that is because once you create this service here, you're no longer allowed to go back and change that service name, right? So you want to name it something that you can identify, especially if you have a big long list of services. Want to name it something that you can identify, right? So we'll just call this marketing. I hope I spelled that right. Next, the other important thing is the data center, right? So basically, I'll just go ahead and open this up. As you see, we have data centers all across the globe. We do speed test all of them. We are selecting the one that has the fastest response time, right? So we want to do that, but you are more than welcome to come in here and change this to whatever you want, right? So for example, our best data throughput here is to the EU West Public, right? But these are also good. I could pick any one of those and it would still be fine, right? But usually it's best just to kind of leave it at the default. That's usually what I do. So all I need to do now is hit create the service, and it goes through the entire process. Now this process does take a little bit of time, and I do kind of want to show you some of the highlights of the new interface here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run in the background. We'll come back to it after I'm done, and this should be, by the time that I'm finished, this should be finished in theory. So let's go ahead and take a look at our service configuration again. Documentation, feedback, please, just go ahead and give us that. So you can see down here, I'm already at step 11 of creating the service, so it goes through really quick. But let's talk a little bit about here what I want to do here. I've got my list of those. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to go back and add, I'm really sorry that I forgot about this. If you do not have a service, if you are a new customer, when you come into this page, that whole creating a service is going to automatically pop up for you, right? You're not gonna have to click anything. You're just gonna have to go through it. And again, it's just a couple simple clicks, and then you're kind of rolling. So I wanted to get that out there. So apologize for that. But here's so the configuration, going back to the configuration. See, I've got my my demo system here. It's the one that I basically do all the webinars on, so a lot of y'all seen it. But this is basically the overview of my service, right? So I have a load balancing service here, and I've got basically everything that I need to see right at my fingertips, right? I can see that it's running. I can see that there's active services, that the services are active, my Dataverse URL, the environment, the user, et cetera, right? For me, though, the most important thing is right down here, right? This nice our little donut graphs. I can see how many documents I've done this month, how many documents I've done this year, and how many I've done in total, right? And it also breaks it down for you, right? It breaks it down for you so you can see how many documents you've actually created. These are single documents. Doc parts would be like, so for example, these two kind of go hand in hand. A doc part is a piece of a multi-part document. And what we mean by that is being able to say, for example, you generate 5 documents and then you put them all together in sort of like a workbook or a proposal or something like that. That would then be the multi-part document. And then we have other right there. So other things that I'm doing, like creating SharePoint locations and things of that nature. So you can really get a good view of how you're actually using the tool just from this alone, right? Let's move into the configuration piece, right? This part right here, what it does is basically it shows you like if you're connected or not. Your Dynamics 365 details how you're connected to your Dynamics 365 instance or Dataverse instance, and then your SharePoint details how you're connected there, right? One of the most important things though on this page is the button configuration, right? And this is something that's often overlooked, right? The button configuration, what that is actually going to do is it's going to bring up every single table in my dynamic system, right? And then I'm able to pick and choose where I want to have the create document button. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with DocumentsCorePack, what the create document button does is that's basically how we launch document creation inside of Dynamics 365, right? So that's really important because, like, say for example, you're not using work orders or something like that. You don't want the button to be there. You don't want, you're not creating documents from there. You can actually go in there and pick and choose what tables you want the to show the create document button on. All right. The next piece is the license, right? Just to kind of show your license. Just a quick overview of this, right? It's the right now. This is probably going to change. But for right now, this is something like if you've used our products before, you're probably familiar with this page. But your license value column, how many users you're licensed for, and then what your system is giving back to us, right? So basically, I can license 35 people, but I'm only having 2 use it right now. Same for the template designer right here. Information on template designer, how many people can use the actual template designer. And for me, one of the most important thing is these user roles, right? I'm not going to go really in depth into this, but basically what this does is it gives you a total summary, shows you basically all your users, why your user is being counted for a license and things of that nature. It's really, really handy. Like say, for example, and this does happen all the time, we're constantly adding people to these environments and everything like that. And sometimes, we don't take people out that don't need to be in there. Well, this is actually going to show you the list, who you're counting, why you're counting them, and so you can like make adjustments. It helps out a lot. The next piece would be our version info, right? And this is a very useful thing. Usually, basically, you can see here, these are our solutions that we install on your dynamic system or in Dataverse, right? So you see what you have installed and you see what the latest version is, okay? If, for example, there was a version mismatch here, like say I had 270, right? This line right here would be yellow, indicating that there is an update available to me. Again, we don't do automatic updates or anything like that. You do have to update yourself. Usually, what I suggest for people to do is about every 3 months, come in, take a look at our documentation and our knowledge base. We have, our release notes for the different versions. Kind of walk through those, take a look at them, and then you basically come in here and hit the update solutions button. That's all you have to do. And it's just going to update those solutions to the latest version, and you're going to get all the new features and bug fixes and things like that by doing that. Excuse me. One other thing that's really important that I'm going to say right here from a support perspective, usually if something is wrong, if you are having problems doing anything, take a look at the release notes, take a look at your version numbers, right? Uh, that usually helps out a lot. I saw that question. And at this time, it's not possible to roll back. So this is why I'm always like telling people to be very careful. But the all of our solutions and everything like that go through a pretty rigorous testing process. So we're usually confident when we release it here that there's not going to be any kind of issue or anything like that. Okay. Next is our Power Automate section. Not a lot to see here, but very important. Okay. So basically, DocumentsCorePack has the DocumentsCorePack connector with all kinds of actions and everything like that. Power Automate is kind of you should be using that instead of workflows. Let me say that. Basically, what this is actually going to do for you is, so as you're like creating your flow and you add the DocumentsCorePack connector, it is going to ask you for an API key. This is where you would come get your API key, right? So you can get your API key here from here, just copy it and then paste it right into your, into the Power Automate there when it's asking you for the API key. A couple other things, you can reissue the API key or revoke the API key. Normally, you don't need to do that, but this is where you're going to get that API key from, okay? Next, not going to go into it because I don't have any printers, but this is where you would set up our cloud printing solutions, right? We do offer some cloud printing solutions. Next is load balancing. Not really going to go deep into load balancing, but basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to create a whole bunch of documents in a shorter amount of time because you have more services working on those documents. So this basically tells you how many load balancing services you have available to you, how many you have configured, and how many are reserved for single documents, right? We do that in such a way where, for example, here, the top 3 are reserved for singles, right? So if I'm just creating a one-off document, it's going to be handled by these 3. And then the last 3 are going to be handling the batch documents, right? Let's say if I want to make a change to that, right? I just need to go into configure and basically set up. Let's say I just needed 2. I needed more batch. I needed to create more batch documents than I did single documents. I can change the configuration right here. You can also remove your load balancing here, right? And then it's just apply, and it's going to change all that around for you. The really nice thing about this and doing it this way and everything like that is if you have not configured any load balancing services, you come in and you configure these 2 options right here. It's basically going to set up all these services for you, and it's very, very quick. So again, you can kind of adjust as needed, right? The next piece that I'm going to go over is the document statistics. Now, this is a table. It's got a lot of stuff in it, right? It tells me exactly, right now I'm looking at the last 250 documents that I created. Right, it gives me my template, like it has everything here. What I'm actually doing, I'm creating a document from a quote to the quote email. It's the name of the template is called quote email body. Over here, this is quite important. This column right here, total duration, it tells you exactly how long it took for that document to be created, right? Between everything. So this document took 1.7 seconds to do. This document took 7.9 seconds to do, right? So you can see all that information here. You can see the document size, etc. Just basically everything, right? So one of the questions that we do get asked a lot is, hey, last month I want to see how many people actually use this new template that I created. I want to see that. Well, you can do that right here, right? So now we can select a time span, right? So let's see for the month of April here. So April 30th, I want to see how many people use a certain template, right? So again, one of the things that I can do really, really nice, is group things. You group things by template name. You can actually see the actual templates here, how many times it's been used, when it's been used, etc. So you can see all that there. It's very, very efficient. And then again, if you want to get even more granular, you can come in here and do, different sorting option, different filter options, and things of that nature, right? So there we go. That's that piece right there. Data usage charts is what I talked about before. I briefly went over it. Now I'm going to go over it a little bit more here. This shows you the data usage for the lifetime of your service, right? So you can see here. Well, let's say like in 2022, very curious about like why is my data falling off? Why is the usage falling off? Or why is it rising? What are we doing, etc. I can go in, I can click on that, and then at this level here, I can actually see month by month exactly what we're doing. So it looks like in March and April we were generating a lot of documents in there, and then I can actually kind of see why. What we're doing. We're creating a lot of documents. We're creating a lot of multi-part documents, etc. So you can see all that. It's really, really nice at that level. So great. Next is templates. This is probably the most important thing. There's a running joke. I say this is the most important thing a lot. But here, this is basically where you would import your templates, right? You would export your templates, and then you can also set up a cloud backup. Highly recommend doing both these, like one of these at least, right? If you're not going to set up a cloud backup, set yourself up a reminder in Outlook. Come in, export your templates and everything like that. Trust me, it's going to save you a bunch of headache when someone who doesn't know that the DocumentsCorePack live inside of Dynamics on a record as an annotation, they're going to wipe all annotations to save space, right? And it's going to wipe out all your DocumentsCorePack templates. If you have exported it, right, you can then re-import those instead of recreating all your DocumentsCorePack templates. If you have a cloud backup, you can import those into there. So yeah, excellent question. Excellent question. I saw that. That's exactly what I'm going to get to. Copy to Dataverse, right? More than likely, the name of this is going to change, but basically what copy to Dataverse means is it allows me to transfer templates from one system to another. Why is that important? So basically, if you're doing things in the way that we're supposed to be doing, I know we all don't, but if you say, I'm doing template development on my test system, right? I want to promote those then to my UAT system, right? Let's say I have a bunch of flows and a bunch of workflows and like some, a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm using these templates on, and I or one-click actions and things of that nature. Basically, what this allows me to do is it allows me to transfer those templates from the test system to the UAT system. And what it does is it maintains the GUIDs across for the records, right? Because that's what we're actually using, right? If we're calling a template in a flow, or we're calling a template in a workflow, or we're using a template in a one-click action, we are referencing the GUID, right? To actually GUID of the record where that template is stored. So by copying that over, maintaining those GUIDs, it's going to be less of a hassle for you to actually, kind of get up and running. It's just transferred over and everything runs perfectly. So that's basically what that is. When you want to transfer templates from one environment to another, use the copy to Dataverse. Again, more than likely, this name is going to be changed. Okay. Last but not least, we have font management. If you have any weird fonts that you're using, this is where you basically upload those fonts. We have all the standard fonts and everything like that, but if there's some weird font that you're using, you can upload that there. Right. Last but not least is the service logs. Okay. This basically will tell you if there's kind of any issues. I've had some issues with this kind of loading, and I kind of hope it loads right now. But basically here, you can come into the service log, you can take a look at it. If you can see if there's any errors, any kind of warnings or anything like that, you can filter it out basically just like you could like here in the document statistics. It's very similar to this, where you have all the information that you need, all the messages and everything like that. And then you can view your details of everything, check everything out, etc. Okay. So let's flip back now, because this should be, yeah. So this now, so my new service and all that time that it took me to do that, I don't know. I didn't start a watch or anything like that, but I think it was about less than 15 minutes to get this new thing up and running. So we basically now taken that down from about 30 minutes to get started to 15 minutes to get started. And I know now that I'm saying this, yeah. So I know there's an error on this slide and I have to redo it now. So basically, thank you everybody. I mean, I just want to say real quick that there are free trials available, and you can see that the startup process is pretty easy, right? There are no functional limitations in the trial. You can definitely, everything that I've shown today, everything that I've shown every webinar, you can set this up in 15 minutes and you can do it yourself. It may take some time. You may have to learn a little bit, but you can get started really quick. It's fully supported. So if you have issues, you can jump in with support. We'll help you out. And this is a lie because now it takes about 15 minutes to get started. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.